Hello world. Hi, it's me, Julian Venables, your London Astrologer, and I'm here to give you an update on March the 7th and March the 8th, 2020. So there's two aspects I'm going to talk about today. The first one will be the Sun conjunct Neptune in Pisces, which is building up this weekend and is going to reach a peak on Sunday. And also it's Venus Uranus in Taurus. So I've sort of drawn a little board here. I don't know if you can see that properly or not, but okay. Anyway, so it's Sun conjunct Neptune in Pisces. That's going to be 12 noon on Sunday, the 8th of March. And then Venus conjunct Uranus in Taurus at 19:30 or 7:30 p.m. GMT time on Sunday as well. So both conjunctions. So let's have a little think about conjunctions first, because what happens with a conjunction is two planets are going to be meeting at the same point in the sky. So what you get really is a fusion or a union or a combination of the two planetary dynamics. And depending on the speed of the planets, it happens approximately, different timings, but the quicker moving planets, tend to make a conjunction with all the planets once a year. So today, or rather for Sunday, we've got Sun Neptune. Sun makes its journey around the zodiac in a year. So it's the Sun Neptune happens once a year, and that's this Sunday. And Venus, it takes about a year to go around the zodiac. It makes a conjunction to Uranus on Sunday as well. So we're looking at two starting points. So firstly, the Sun Uranus, I beg your pardon, excuse me, it's still Mercury retrograde. The Sun Neptune conjunction in Pisces. Let's look at the news first with that one. Some interesting news things. This has been building up for a while, of course. So let's think about how that's reflected, because we go as above, so below, and what happens below is happening above. Astrology is the tool to reflect on life, because the planets don't actually make us do things. The planets are there as a reflection of what happens. And so you can see a simultaneous things occurring. So with Sun Neptune, then what we're looking at here is this idea that we've got a sense of the Sun being a figurehead, someone in the limelight, in the spotlight, something that's quite lit up, something that's quite bright, but goes with Neptune, which is the planet of dissolution, the planet of depth, of watery, deep emotion and feeling. And so when you get the Sun, the bright planet, going with Neptune, the water planet, then what you end up experiencing is sensitivity, right? Possible sort of a sense of weakness, even a sense of, like the loosening of a boundary a bit. Neptune dissolves things. And in the headlines, of course, what we've got at the moment is coronavirus. This is a huge thing. And not only that, but all over England, particularly, we've got all this flooding, which is lessened a lot now. But yesterday, it was continuous rain down here in the south of England. It was continuous rain all day. So this flooding thing, we've now got a lot of still water sitting on top of the earth, and it's not going anywhere. And the weather's still not warm enough to evaporate it all. So there's people getting very worn down by this idea of having a lot of water around their homes and houses, for example, their whole village or their town being flooded out. It's causing great consternation, great problems. And it's this sense of this sensitivity to all that is as it builds up to this weekend. People are looking to try and find out more about that. They want to talk to the boss, to the leader. That would be Boris Johnson. But when you've got Sun Neptune as well, then the leader's nowhere to be seen, because Sun Neptune is also a vanishing trick, right? So he's just not unwilling to even talk about it, because it's a disaster that can't even be put into words. So, and he's realizing as a Gemini that he's now fully responsible for all this, and he's not the leader that he thought he might be. So he's really not doing that well, really, is he? But anyway, So with Sun Neptune, then what you're looking for in your own life is this idea of being very receptive to all impressions. Okay, that's kind of the thing that's going to be going on leading up to this weekend. That peak being Sunday, just after 12 noon. It's around about, Sunday lunchtime that it peaks. Your imagination is going to get very more activated. This is in the sign of Pisces. So we're looking at the idea of the imagination, sentimentality, artistic ability, that sense of being very meditative, very inspired. So if you feel to make music, write poetry, write something, speak in a very dreamy kind of way, communicate something very dreamily, but also at the same time, a very big dose of spaciness, vagueness, the illusions of life, the unrealities coming through. This is Sun Neptune, happens once a year. Okay, so this conjunction is like the beginning of that. Okay, so one has to pay attention to where you're letting yourself go to, what you're letting yourself do. Could be a lot of booze or anything else. Recreational things, might get a bit too much, or it's like that sort of stuff. So you have to look at this idea of impressionability, and then as a result of that, being subjected to moods, because Sun Neptune makes for very big moods. Okay, mood shifts. So there may be some peculiar ideas, quite a lot of craving for something, quite a lot of self-deception. But on the other hand, inspiration, sensitivity, psychic powers, really picking up on stuff, really tuning in, being intuitive, being like a guide for someone, helping someone with their, seeing through something in an intuitive way, the visionary, the enchanter, right? You might listen to some of your favorite music with Sun Neptune, it could be really good for that, So the mystical things in life, go somewhere mystical. Whatever that mystic part of your life is, what is it, is it sacred ancient places, or a walk on the beach, or climb a mountain, or, what is it? Go find it with Sun Neptune this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, a very good time to go and do that. It's a good time to be romantic. Right? It's a very good time to be idealistic. Wouldn't it be nice if this would happen? But at the same time, you've got to recognize that there may be a lot of plans, but not necessarily the power to carry them through. And that, of course, is idealism as well. So think about that. It's nice to listen to things and be inspired, but whether or not it will proactively become something is another matter altogether. All right, but this weekend, be open to the artistic things in life. This is the idea of Sun Neptune in Pisces. Okay, so that's what I'd say about that. And I would say be very wary of feeling, of course, Sun Neptune in Pisces could also spending the whole weekend in bed, chilling out, right? It's okay. You don't have to do much. Don't expect yourself to do much. In fact, just let it go easy. In England at the moment, or the world, we now, it's right across the headlines all the time, is this idea of the coronavirus and what it's doing. The Sun Neptune is the susceptibility of the virus. If people have a weakened immunity system or weakened sensitivity to things, it might be that this Sun Neptune could be a big rush of people clearly getting the virus. So we have to be ready for that. This is what the newspapers are trying to warn us about. And it's interesting that they're warning us days before the actual Sun Neptune conjunction. Okay, because today is Friday, Saturday, Sunday is the peak when the conjunction occurs. So it's important to have a sympathetic understanding of everybody or all people at this time with the Sun Neptune, because it's kind of like that sort of dreamy states of it's about having it's to a certain extent, actually, with Sun Neptune, I think you're kind of looking at this idea of having a lot of spiritual and psychic experiences, having a lot of awareness of others in compassion and empathy is important. Being a bit self-sacrificing, being a little bit of a martyr to a certain extent, I will look after you, I will help you type stuff, is quite Sun Neptune. But also there's a sense of possible entanglements, possible disappointments, possible the idea of the onset of something going illnessy and wrong. I want to say it's inspired. I want to be inspired by Sun Neptune. I want to say you could make your most beautiful piece of music or artwork, or you could have this most delightful experience in your relationships. But at the same time, you might find that you're feeling particularly sensitive. Okay, so it's going to be one way. It might be all these things, but have that awareness for it. See how it builds up. Rest of today, Saturday and Sunday, with the conjunction actually occurring. It's actually going to be at 12:38, I believe, or 12:28 on Sunday lunchtime, GMT. Okay, so that's a bit about Sunday, Sunday's Sun Neptune conjunction. Okay. Now I want to talk about Venus and Uranus, okay, which are going to be conjuncting on the same day in the fixed sign of Taurus, which is an earth sign, very sensual. And so let's look at Venus, Uranus. Interesting that the same day, within a few hours of each other, that we've got this two planets conjoining at the same time. So there's a very strong beginning point. What happens with a conjunction is, as I said earlier, it's the beginning of something. So look out for something to really get going on Sunday. Now with Venus, Uranus, we're looking at this idea of Venus is the planet of love and relationships, and it's in its own sign. It's very strong there. Okay, it's in her domicile. Venus is in her domicile. She is comfortable sitting in her own throne in Taurus. She'll be there for a few weeks. It's very nice, right? Very good. And so what you can expect is the arousing of love, the arousing of relationships, the sensuality, the connection of people, a new rhythm to life, of ability to getting things together, making things happen. Quite a bit, that could be kind of Venus in Taurus. But this is with Venus and Uranus together. And Uranus is the planet of eccentricity. It's also the planet of freedom and liberation and doing things in different ways. It's about being unexpected. It's about doing things surprisingly. And it's about progressing and evolving things a lot more. Okay, so what we're looking at here is quite a lot of tension with Uranus, but it's in Taurus. Okay, so it's an underlying tension. It's a receptive tension. Taurus doesn't express itself outwards. It's an inwards earth sign, fixed. So it's quite stubborn. It's quite immovable. It doesn't make many changes in things. So it's a practical thing. It's a serene thing. It's a kind of determined. Venus in Taurus would be determined. I want something relationship oriented to happen. But it's also enduring. It's also very affectionate and very loving, Venus in Taurus. Uranus is a bit bonkers, a bit crazy, kind of wild, slightly edgy, almost like a jolt, a lightning bolt, an electric shock, something that surprises, something that takes you out of your normal way of doing things, and then lands you with a new perspective. So if you put that with the Sun Neptune that's happening on Sunday and Sun Uranus happening on Sunday, and the headlines in the newspapers at the moment ramping us up for an outbreak of coronavirus that's going to, well, it could be saying possibly we might be getting, and I don't want to paint a bad picture here, but the newspapers are already doing it for us anyway, right? I'm just here to kind of, say, well, maybe the planets are backing it up a bit, but basically we're looking at this idea that we might have to start relating to each other in a new and different way. Okay, that's Uranus. All right, so don't shake hands anymore. Keep using a scrubbing brush as you use soap and water. what was it? Sing the national anthem, sing happy birthday twice, all these funny little things that they keep saying on the news as you wash your hands. Don't shake hands. Instead, use your feet. So you've got these things. I don't know if you've seen these videos of people going, contacting their feet. Some people saying we should do the Mr. Spock thing instead, which is quite funny, but I mean, like ways of communicating and linking to each other, which is very Venus, So we've got to look out for all this. All right, it's a very interesting phase that's going on at the moment, and all this, of course, is this is very much for the year ahead, right? Because as I said, a conjunction is the beginning of something. All right, so we have to be very aware of what we're doing, right? So we've got to be persevering, we've got to be steadfast, we've got to look to natural nature oriented things. So Venus Uranus, right, is kind of like, why not strengthen your bodily defenses in Uranian ways, new and different ways? Take nutrient supplements, go and get your vitamin tablets, start doing those, look after yourself. Be more, do the things that are going to bolster your system. Uranus is a surprising thing, but it's also a discovery-oriented thing. It's like a oh, I can do that, and yes, you can. So go and think about things like that as well, to try and improve, which is quite Venusian, to improve something. Look after your own vehicle. The Taurus is the body, right? So it's about looking after yourself as well, all right? And thinking about what's resourceful, right? What's productive, yeah? And that's all very Venus with Uranus. So it could be that, you need to think about things like that as well. Stick with what you're doing. You don't have to change things too much. So all this now, a quick review of the news, of course, with Venus Uranus. Venus changed sign yesterday. The celebrity news, which I thought was very interesting, was Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom announced that she's pregnant. Venus is very abundant, fertile, Venus in Taurus. And so it's two Hollywood stars, very successful ones, Venus in Taurus, going to get married and have a baby. It's very successful, so wish them all the best on that one. That's going to be marvelous for them. And but it's interesting that they announced it exactly when Venus went into Taurus. And I do believe that Katy Perry uses a lot of astrology. I do believe I read an interview somewhere that she likes to use a lot of astrology. So interesting that she waited till Venus went into Taurus to make the announcement. The other, of course, Venus being relationships. The other really interesting one is today that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have arrived in England for their last round of public duties before they go off to do their own thing, which is freedom, which is Uranus. So Venus in Taurus with Uranus is the freedom to do your own thing. And Queen Elizabeth II has her sun at 0 degrees Taurus. So Venus going into Taurus would be her basically probably giving them her blessing. I can even almost in a certain kind of way, I can hear her kind of saying to them, I wish I'd been able to do that. You know what I mean? So, because let's face it, public duty is very difficult, isn't it? But so they've gone off now. They're going to go off and do their own thing. That's very Venus Uranus. So it's the conjunction. It's the beginning of what they want to do. They're going to rebrand themselves. Branding, by the way, that's an interesting one. What do you do to a cow, right? You brand it, yeah, and so it's Taurus, right? So Venus Uranus Taurus is like they're now going to rebrand themselves as the ex-royals. They're going to have this whole new thing. Anyway, just an interesting way of looking at it, I suppose. But I hopefully they will get. Hopefully they'll get into things like environmental protections and things like that, which could be very Venus, Uranus, and Taurus. England collectively, I've read it in the newspapers, a few articles about it the last few days, particularly with this Venus now going into Taurus. It's a policy change for looking after nature. I noticed yesterday they're not going to do the badger cull anymore. That was Venus going into Taurus. That was very nice. So they're going to do a vaccine instead, which is, I think that's Venus Uranus. So the badgers are going to be saved, to a certain extent, which is excellent. But they're also talking about the massive tree planting programs, that how they're going to save the environment by planting trees that will absorb more water, planting trees higher up the ground, so that and a lot more hedgerows and so forth. There needs to be the rewilding of England, and this next year, I think will be a greater chance for that. So let's see what happens. In your own life, Venus, Uranus, surprising with relationships, lots of excitability in your love expression, quite impulsive, stepping up of sensations and feelings, that's all good, isn't it? Maybe quite a lot of sentimentality, a lot of eccentricity, allow it all to be expressed, again, artistic talents coming through with Venus, Taurus meeting Uranus. Oh, wow, I've got these really amazing feelings and I need to tell you about them. Venus, Uranus, right? In a surprising way. Oh, I didn't think you were going to tell me that today, kind of stuff. The release, the nervous, tension-based release of suppressed desires. That's quite a good one. Venus, Uranus can be like, pow! Oh, my goodness me, and that, is the urge of independence as well when it comes to the ideas of love and relating. So all these things are leading to the possibilities of quite exciting things in relationships. Okay, extravagance, right? That's quite Venus, Uranus in Taurus. Yeah, so there we go, right? So all these sort of things are going to add to your experience of what can be happening over the next few days. And I hope that you have a really interesting weekend. I give readings, so do contact me through social media. My website is londonAstrologer.com. My name is Julian Venables. I've been an astrologer for 25 years. I can give very comprehensive readings of your chart. I am also the astrologer for a new app called Apogeny. And you'll be seeing that, a new website, beg your pardon. Oh my God, Mercury retrograde. A new website called Apogeny, which is all about using astrology for dating. It's a very exciting experiment we're doing, and it's going to be a really superb thing to have to sign up to. That website will be released quite soon. And I hope to hear from you all again soon. My next video, I am planning to record on Sunday or Monday, and it will be about Mercury going direct and something else. I'm going to do something else as well. Mercury going direct is good enough for now. So that'll be my next video. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this today. Do share it, please, to all your friends. Do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Share this on Instagram. I'm hoping that, together we can build an interesting astrological community. Because let's face it, the age of Aquarius is getting closer and closer. We've got to close out these interesting years. It might feel like there's ongoing disasters, but as old things break down, the new infrastructure rises up and through, and that's what's actually happening. Okay, everything seems to be falling apart, but something new is coming out of it. I do believe we are here for eternity. It's never the end of the world, really. People might say it is, but it never is. Enjoy your weekend. See you again soon. Take care and see you next time. Bye for now.